Jason's devastating grief. Monica's death sends him into a dark spiral. As Britt reveals their secret child, the Quartermain mansion feels eerily quiet as Jason Morgan walks through the familiar hallways, each step echoing with memories of the woman who shaped his life more than any other. Monica Quartermain is gone, and with her passing, Jason's world has crumbled in ways he never thought possible. The discovery that changed everything. It was Danny Morgan who made the heartbreaking discovery, finding his beloved grandmother Monica peaceful in her sleep, having passed away quietly in the room where she had spent her final days. The young boy's cries alerted the household, bringing Jason rushing to a scene that would forever be etched in his memory. There lay Monica, the woman who had been his anchor through every storm life had thrown his way, finally at rest. Jason's hands trembled as he reached for his phone to call 911, his voice breaking as he reported the death at the Quartermain estate. The words felt foreign on his tongue. My mother is gone, each syllable a dagger to his heart. Tracy Quartermain, equally devastated, stood beside him as they both grappled with the reality that the matriarch of their family had left them forever, a son's unimaginable pain. For Jason, Monica's death represents far more than the loss of an adoptive mother. She was his constant, the one person who never gave up on him even when his own memories were stolen by that fateful accident years ago. Monica had seen him through his transformation from privileged Quartermain heir to street-hardened enforcer, loving him unconditionally through every dangerous choice he made. Now, as he prepares to deliver her eulogy, Jason finds himself drowning in grief that cuts deeper than any physical wound he's ever endured. The strong man who has faced down mobsters and killers without flinching breaks down completely behind closed doors. His tears fall freely for the woman who taught him that love doesn't require blood, that family is chosen as much as it is born. The funeral that brings Port Charles together. Monica's memorial service draws an unprecedented gathering in Port Charles. The entire Quartermain family comes together despite their fractured relationships, united in their love for the woman who held them all together. Ned Quartermain returns with his family. Brooklyn Quartermain puts aside her differences with her mother Lois to attend, and even long-absent relatives make the journey to pay their respects. At General Hospital, where Monica dedicated her life to healing others, her colleagues Dr. Britt Westburn, Dr. Portia Robinson, and Dr. Terry Randolph stand as representatives of the medical legacy she leaves behind. The hospital corridors that once echoed with Monica's authoritative voice now feel hollow without her presence. As Jason takes the podium to deliver his mother's eulogy, his voice wavers with emotion. He speaks of Monica's unwavering strength, her fierce protection of family, and her ability to love without conditions. She always told us to protect our family above all else, Jason says, his words carrying a weight that will soon prove prophetic. Britt's heartbreaking return. In the days following Monica's funeral, Jason struggles to function. The man known for his stoic demeanor and unshakable composure finds himself lost in a haze of grief. He begins drinking heavily, seeking solace in bottles that offer only temporary numbness to the pain that threatens to consume him entirely. His friends and family watch helplessly as Jason spirals downward, seemingly unreachable in his sorrow. Britt Westburn, having recently returned from her own presumed death, watches Jason's deterioration with growing concern. Despite their complicated past and the anger she still harbors over his choices, she cannot bear to see the man she once loved destroying himself. Her own heart breaks as she witnesses Jason's complete breakdown, the strong protector reduced to a shadow of himself. The woman who once accused Jason of choosing duty over love now sees him drowning in grief, and her maternal instincts override her wounded pride. Britt knows she must act, but the revelation she's about to share will either save Jason or destroy what remains of his shattered world. A secret that changes everything. Unable to watch Jason sink deeper into despair, Britt makes a decision that will alter the course of both their lives forever. She approaches him during one of his darkest moments, when the alcohol has failed to numb his pain and Monica's absence feels like a physical wound that won't heal. Jason, there's something you need to know, Britt begins, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she's about to reveal. Something I should have told you long ago. Through his grief-clouded mind, Jason looks up at the woman he thought he'd lost forever. Britt takes a deep breath before delivering the bombshell that will change everything. We have a daughter together, Jason. A little girl who's been kept from us both. The words hit Jason like a physical blow. In his alcohol-fogged state, he struggles to process what Britt is telling him. A daughter? How is that possible? When? Where is she now? Britt explains through tears that she became pregnant during their time together, but chose to hide it from him when she saw how devoted he was to protecting Carly and her family. She gave birth in secret, watching from afar as Jason's unwavering loyalty to Carly consumed more and more of his time and attention. The jealousy and heartbreak of seeing the man she loved always putting Carly's needs first drove her to make the devastating decision to keep their child a secret. But their daughter was discovered and taken by mysterious figures, the same shadowy organization that has connections to the criminal underworld they both know all too well. The child has been held captive, used as leverage against Britt to ensure her compliance with their demands. A father's awakening. The shock of Britt's revelation cuts through Jason's grief-induced stupor like a lightning bolt. Suddenly, Monica's dying words echo in his mind with new meaning: protect your family. The woman who raised him knew the importance of fighting for those you love, no matter the cost. Jason's eyes clear for the first time since Monica's death, as the full weight of Britt's confession sinks in. He has a daughter, a child who needs him, who has been suffering while he wallowed in his pain. The thought of an innocent little girl being held captive by criminals ignites a fire in Jason that burns away the fog of alcohol and despair. Where is she? Jason demands, his voice regaining its strength and determination. Who has our daughter? Britt explains that the same criminal organization that has been operating in the shadows of Port Charles is responsible. They've used their daughter as insurance, keeping Britt compliant by threatening the child's safety. Every day their little girl remains captive is another day of fear and uncertainty. The mission begins. For the first time since Monica's death, Jason feels purpose coursing through his veins. The overwhelming grief that had consumed him transforms into focused determination. He has a daughter to save, and nothing, not his own pain, not the dangerous criminals holding her, not even his complicated feelings for Britt will stand in his way. We're going to find her, Jason tells Britt with the conviction that has made him one of Port Charles' most formidable protectors. We're going to bring our daughter home. Britt sees the change in Jason immediately. The broken man drowning in alcohol and sorrow has been replaced by the focused, determined father she always knew he could be. Monica's final lesson about protecting family has given Jason the strength to rise from his grief and fight for the child he never knew existed. As they begin planning their search, Jason feels Monica's presence guiding him. Her words about family and protection take on new significance as he prepares to face whatever dangers lie ahead. The woman who taught him that love transcends blood has given him one final gift: the motivation to save the daughter who shares that same precious bond. A new chapter of hope. The revelation of their secret daughter marks a turning point for both Jason and Britt. Their shared mission to rescue their child creates a new dynamic between them, built on the foundation of parental love and mutual determination. The pain and anger from their past begins to take a back seat to the urgent need to save their daughter from the criminals who have stolen her childhood. Jason's grief for Monica will always remain, but now it's tempered by hope and purpose. The strong matriarch who shaped his life continues to influence him even in death, her teachings about family and protection driving him forward into this new chapter. As he and Britt prepare to face whatever dangers await them in their quest to find their daughter, Jason carries Monica's love and wisdom with him, knowing that she would approve of his fight to protect the next generation of their family. The battle ahead will test everything Jason and Britt thought they knew about love, sacrifice, and redemption. But with Monica's memory as their guide and their daughter's freedom as their goal, they're ready to face whatever challenges lie in their path. The story of their little girl's rescue has only just begun, and neither heaven nor hell will stop them from bringing her home where she belongs. Next, we will dive deep into the thrilling comeback of Ryan Pavey, whose first airdate has finally been locked in, sparking waves of anticipation among fans everywhere. The buzz around Ryan Pavey's return to General Hospital has reached fever pitch, especially after the show's official social media dropped an entertaining behind-the-scenes video that not only confirms his comeback, but also teases the mystery surrounding it. In this lighthearted clip, Pavey shares a playful exchange with the talented Finola Hughes, who portrays the sharp-witted Anna Devane. Picture this: the two actors are standing outside the iconic studio, where Hughes feigns utter shock at bumping into Pavey, as if he's some long-lost visitor. Pavey, ever the charmer with his signature grin, casually insists that he's right at home because he works here. Hughes, staying perfectly in character with her quick wit, reminds him that he had departed the show years ago, prompting Pavey to reveal his exciting news is officially back on set. To add to the intrigue, he's seen clutching a thick script, admitting he's been poring over lines to get back into the groove. When Hughes presses him on his return date, Pavey drops the bombshell. His episodes kick off on Friday, September 19th. But here's where it gets even more tantalizing. Hughes tries to pry into the details of his character, asking outright who he's portraying this time around. Pavey, playing coy like a true soap star, zips his lips with a mischievous "I can't tell you that. It's a secret," before the video fades out, leaving viewers hanging on every word. This clever promo isn't just fun, it builds suspense, hinting at layers of secrecy that could unravel in unexpected ways. Imagine the possibilities. Could Pavey be slipping back into a familiar role with a fresh twist? Or is there a doppelganger scenario waiting to explode? Fans have been speculating wildly online, with some theorizing that this return might tie into unresolved family dramas or hidden alliances. From the show's rich history, delving deeper into the spoilers, it's clear that Pavey's reappearance is tied to one of General Hospital's most beloved, yet tragic figures, Nathan West. According to insider scoops, Anna Devane will take center stage in unraveling the enigma of Nathan's supposed return, teaming up with Britt Westburn in a high-stakes investigation that promises to dig up old skeletons. The duo suspects a connection to the notorious Caesar Faison, the villain whose web of deceit has ensnared Port Charles for decades. Faison's legacy of manipulation, including his twisted experiments and identity swaps, could be the key to explaining how Nathan, who was believed to have met a heartbreaking end, might have survived against all odds. Think about it, Faison's history of faking deaths and creating lookalikes has been a staple in GH lore. From his own multiple demises to the chaos he inflicted on characters like Anna and her loved ones, this new arc could explore Nathan's resurrection through flashbacks revealing secret hideouts or underground labs where Faison orchestrated his schemes, perhaps even involving experimental treatments that preserved Nathan's life in cryogenic suspension, or through advanced medical tech smuggled from Faison's international network. The fall previews amplify this mystery, suggesting a whirlwind of questions about Nathan's survival. Was he captured and brainwashed? Did he go into hiding to protect his family from Faison's lingering threats? Or is this an imposter using Faison's playbook to infiltrate Port Charles for revenge? Spoilers indicate that at least initially, Pavey will embody Nathan convincingly, complete with the detective's signature moral compass and charm. But the showrunners are known for their curveballs. We might see subtle clues like a scar from an old wound or a cryptic tattoo that hint at alterations, keeping audiences guessing. As the storyline unfolds, expect emotional confrontations where characters grapple with disbelief, joy, and suspicion, potentially leading to DNA tests or psychic visions from characters like Ava Jerome to verify his identity. Of course, General Hospital thrives on twists, so this could evolve into something entirely different, like a parallel universe crossover or a dream sequence that blurs reality. We'll be monitoring every development to bring you the latest on any shocking revelations that could redefine Nathan's place in the canvas. Shifting focus to the immediate drama, Lulu Spencer is set to encounter a life-altering surprise that ties directly into Pavey's debut. On that pivotal Friday episode, Lulu finds herself in the midst of a chaotic accident scene, rushing to aid a severely injured victim who turns out to be none other than the man resembling Nathan. This moment is poised to deliver a gut-wrenching shock for Lulu, given her deep personal history with Nathan. After all, he was her brother-in-law through his marriage to Maxie, and his death left scars on the entire Spencer family. Envision the scene: sirens blaring, rain pouring down on the streets of Port Charles, as Lulu, perhaps on her way home from a late-night shift at the Invader, stumbles upon the wreckage. She might perform emergency first aid, her hands trembling as she recognizes familiar features through the blood and debris, whispering, "It can't be you." This rescue not only kickstarts Nathan's re-entry, but could reopen old wounds for Lulu, forcing her to confront buried grief and unanswered questions about the night Nathan was shot, adding invented layers. Perhaps the accident involves a mysterious car chase linked to Faison's old accomplices, with clues like a discarded locket or a coded message in the victim's pocket that Lulu discovers, pulling her deeper into the conspiracy. Her involvement might evolve into a protective alliance, where she hides Nathan in a safe house while alerting Anna, blending high-tension action with heartfelt reunions. This plot point underscores GH's strength in weaving personal stakes with broader mysteries, ensuring that Lulu's heroism isn't just a plot device, but a catalyst for her own character growth, perhaps reigniting her journalistic instincts or straining her relationships with Dante and the kids. The excitement doesn't stop. Their Payevi's return is generating massive fan buzz, and we're eager to hear your thoughts. Are you counting down the days to his first air date? Ready to see how this new stint shakes up the show? His portrayal of Nathan brought depth, romance, and heroism to the forefront, and fans have long clamored for his comeback, especially after Payevi's real-life ventures into Hallmark movies and modeling. Inventing some fan theories. Some viewers speculate this could lead to a love triangle revival with Maxie and Peter, or even a crossover with other soaps where Nathan teams up with allies from the past. On the flip side, do you feel the cast is already bursting at the seams with heavy hitters like Sonny Corinthos and Carly Spencer dominating screen time? Would you prefer other epic returns, such as a resurrected AJ Quartermain or a dramatic comeback for Robin Scorpio Drake? Share in the comments below. Your ideas could spark the next big storyline discussion on our channel. Finally, the ripple effects of this bombshell are set to rock Port Charles to its core, with characters like Liesl Obrecht facing the most profound upheavals. As Nathan's mother, Liesl's reaction could swing from ecstatic reunion to paranoid distrust, given her own tangled history with Faison. After all, she was once his reluctant partner in crime. Spoilers hint that Liesl, along with many residents, will be thrown into chaos, perhaps leading to explosive family confrontations at the hospital, or clandestine meetings in shadowy alleys. Imagine Liesl conducting her own rogue investigation, using her medical expertise to test Nathan's blood or unearth Faison's hidden files, adding layers of maternal desperation and villainous flair. This wave of stunning news promises to intertwine with ongoing plots, like the Quartermain family feuds or the latest mob wars, ensuring non-stop drama. Next, we will learn about the escalating crisis surrounding Kai Taylor, as he faces a terrifying realization that could potentially implicate him in the shocking shooting of Drew Kane. The latest bombshell developments in Port Charles have taken a dramatic turn, as Kai Taylor finds himself wrestling with a bone-chilling revelation that threatens to unravel everything. After successfully destroying the incriminating evidence that Drew Kane had been using to blackmail Portia Robinson, Kai is now haunted by a crucial oversight that could spell disaster for his future. The young man's mind races with panic as he contemplates whether he might have inadvertently left his fingerprints on the crime scene. Baseball bought a weapon that could now serve as the smoking gun, linking him directly to the attempted murder investigation. This gut-wrenching realization has Kai spiraling into a state of pure dread, knowing that even the smallest forensic detail could transform him from an innocent bystander into the prime suspect in one of Port Charles' most shocking crimes. The irony is devastating. In his desperate attempt to protect Portia and destroy the evidence of her past transgressions, Kai may have inadvertently created an even more damaging piece of evidence against himself. The events leading up to this nightmare scenario began when Kai and Trina Robinson found themselves trapped in an impossible situation, forced to take extreme measures to protect their family from Drew's ruthless manipulation. The tension was palpable as the pair cautiously infiltrated Drew's private residence, their hearts pounding with each careful step as they made their way toward his bedroom sanctuary. Their mission was crystal clear yet incredibly dangerous. They needed to crack open Drew's personal safe and retrieve the devastating documentation that threatened to destroy Portia's career and freedom. This wasn't just any ordinary paperwork. These documents contained explosive proof that Portia had deliberately altered Heather Weber's crucial medical records, a calculated decision made to ensure the dangerous woman remained locked away in prison, where she belonged. The stakes couldn't have been higher, as these records were tied to the horrific revelation that Heather had been operating as the hook, the mysterious killer who had terrorized Port Charles residents with brutal attacks using a grappling hook laced with deadly snake venom. The twisted irony of the situation became even more complex when medical experts discovered that Heather had been suffering from severe cobalt poisoning caused by a defective hip replacement, a condition that could have potentially vacated her prison sentence and set her free to kill again. As Kai and Trina worked frantically to bypass the safe security system, the sound of Drew's unexpected return home sent shockwaves through their already frayed nerves, forcing them to dive for cover in his bedroom while their hearts hammered against their chests. The catastrophic moment that changed everything occurred when the deafening crack of gunshots suddenly shattered the tense silence, sending waves of terror through the hidden teenagers as they realized someone had just attempted to murder Drew in his own living room. Without hesitation, Kai's protective instincts kicked into overdrive as he burst from their hiding spot and rushed toward the scene of the crime, his mind racing with possibilities about who could have pulled the trigger. and whether the shooter might still be lurking somewhere in the house. In a split-second decision that would later haunt him, Kai's trembling hand seized a nearby baseball bat, gripping it tightly as his makeshift weapon, while he cautiously surveyed the blood-soaked living room for any signs of the mysterious assailant. The house felt eerily quiet except for Drew's labored breathing, and after confirming that the shooter had vanished into the night, Kai realized he still had a narrow window of opportunity to complete their original mission. With adrenaline coursing through his veins and his hands still shaking from the trauma, he managed to successfully extract the incriminating paperwork from Drew's safe, clutching the documents that could either save or damn them all. The clever young man's quick thinking allowed him to accomplish their goal, even in the midst of chaos. But his panicked state meant he wasn't considering the forensic implications of his actions. The dramatic escape became even more harrowing when Kai spotted the unmistakable silhouette of Tracy Quartermain approaching the front entrance, her timing creating a perfect storm of complications that forced him and Trina to execute a lightning-fast evacuation plan. As Tracy's authoritative voice echoed through the house while she dialed 911 to report the shooting, Kai and Trina slipped away into the darkness, their hearts still racing from the night's dramatic events, and their minds focused solely on reaching safety. However, now that the initial shock has worn off and the full-scale police investigation has begun in earnest, Kai's analytical mind has started piecing together the potentially devastating consequences of his split-second decisions that night. The realization that Curtis Ashford has become a person of interest in the shooting has only amplified Kai's growing anxiety, as he understands that the investigators are leaving no stone unturned in their quest to identify Drew's would-be killer. The young man's stomach churns with dread as he replays the events of that fateful evening, remembering how his sole focus had been on protecting Trina and securing the evidence, leaving him completely oblivious to the forensic trail he might have been creating. The most terrifying aspect of Kai's predicament centers around his growing certainty that he failed to wipe down the baseball bat before fleeing the scene, a critical oversight that could now serve as the key piece of evidence that transforms him from a concerned citizen into a murder suspect. His mind races through various scenarios as he envisions seasoned detectives meticulously processing the crime scene, their trained eyes searching for any trace of evidence that could lead them to the perpetrator. The fact that Drew's home remains an active crime scene only heightens Kai's paranoia, knowing that forensic specialists are likely examining every surface, every weapon, and every potential clue with microscopic precision. While Kai draws some comfort from the fact that his criminal record remains spotless, he can't shake the terrifying possibility that his fingerprints might be stored in some database from his childhood, perhaps from one of those innocent school visits where police officers would fingerprint students as part of safety demonstrations. The thought of those long-forgotten prints now serving as the smoking gun in a murder investigation sends chills down his spine, making him question every interaction he's ever had with law enforcement. As Kai grapples with the possibility of being brought in for questioning, he desperately searches for a plausible explanation that could explain his presence at the crime scene without revealing the true nature of his mission. That night, the young man realizes that his position as Drew's congressional intern could actually work in his favor, as it would be perfectly reasonable for him to have legitimate reasons for visiting Drew's residence during the course of his duties. However, this potential alibi becomes complicated when he considers that any interrogation would inevitably place him at the exact location where the shooting occurred, creating a direct connection that investigators would find impossible to ignore. The most damaging aspect of his situation stems from Drew's own testimony, in which the victim clearly stated that he believed he was completely alone in the house when an unknown assailant shot him in the back, eliminating any possibility that Drew himself had handled the baseball bat. This crucial detail, which Curtis had shared during his emotional visit to Drew's ICU room, now serves as a double-edged sword that could potentially clear Drew of any involvement, while simultaneously making Kai's fingerprints on the weapon appear incredibly suspicious. The psychological toll of this mounting pressure has begun to consume Kai's every waking moment, as he struggles to maintain his composure while internally battling waves of panic and dread about his uncertain future. Despite the logical part of his mind suggesting that he might be worrying unnecessarily, the young man can't escape the terrifying reality that circumstantial evidence has destroyed countless innocent lives throughout history. The stakes continue to rise as the investigation intensifies, with seasoned detectives following every lead and analyzing every piece of evidence with the precision of seasoned professionals who have solved hundreds of similar cases. Kai's fate now hangs in the balance, dependent on factors completely beyond his control, including the skill of the forensic team, the thoroughness of the investigation, and whether his fingerprints can actually be traced back to him through various databases. As each day passes without resolution, the young man finds himself caught in an impossible situation where his noble intentions to protect his family could ultimately result in his own destruction, creating a tragic irony that perfectly captures the complex moral dilemmas that define life in Port Charles.